All right, all right, all right. What is going on, folks? Pete Nova here with the Face Off Sports Network. Week 16 is here. We are back. We're ready to go. Thursday Night Football on tap tonight with the Seattle Seahawks versus the Los Angeles Rams, two offenses that have been extremely hot. And normally, right, we would sit there and look at this game and say, we should expect a lot of fantasy points, but the weather is a little sketchy in this one. So we'll get into that a little bit more as we get into the show. But if you're here on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe as well. I'm going to go over my rankings as well as just answer your start sit questions and yeah, do the best that I can to make sure I give you guys the best advice. And as always, right, if you feel like you don't want to wait, you could definitely send in a super chat. I'll gladly make sure I pull you in front. And yeah, if you just want to send in a super chat as some support as well, be much appreciated. But if you can't, a like, a subscribe, a retweet, wherever you are, that's more than enough, and we appreciate you being here tonight. So let's go to the first question here from Scorpion on YouTube. Do I start Michael Wilson even though Marvin Harrison is back? So Michael Wilson has been phenomenal this year. Or I guess this back end of the stretch. Marvin Harrison, I don't have really in my rankings just yet until I see that he's going to come back and play. But we're still kind of monitoring that. Like, I don't have T. Higgins in my rankings yet. I don't have Quentin Johnson in my rankings yet. I don't have Rashi Rice in my rankings. Adams, I don't expect to play. Ricky Pearsall is a game time decision on Monday. But even if Marvin Harrison plays, Michael Wilson moves from like 7 for me to probably closer to about like wide receiver 15, 16, right around where Cortland Sutton and Ted McMillan are for me, like one spot ahead of George Pickens. George Pickens, I'm not high on this week. He goes up against a Chargers team that's been really, really stingy to the wide receiver position. So I mean, I would start Michael Wilson with confidence. I mean, he played very well in a extremely hard matchup last week against the Houston Texans. And last week we said don't be afraid to play Michael Wilson. And he ended up producing extremely well. Now, Michael Wilson going up against the Arizona Cardinals, this game it should be decently scoring. I don't think it's going to be low scoring in this one, but just taking a look at the Arizona Cardinals, over the last 4 weeks, and I always talk about how I like to look at the last 4 weeks when I'm looking at data, because I like to look at the season as like four chunks of 4 quarters, right? Arizona Cardinals over the last. Oh well, hold on. Let me back that up because I have it in regular season. I got to make sure I do last 4 weeks here. Sorry. So give me a second. Let that curate real quick. Arizona Cardinals are 13th when it comes to points allowed to the wide receiver position over their last 4 games. They're giving up 32.5 points to the wide receiver position, 6 total touchdowns, 37 receptions, 568 yards. Touchdowns wise, they're ranked 6th in the NFL over the last 4 weeks with touchdowns allowed to the wide receiver position. So yeah, I mean, look, Marv coming back, like it definitely affects him, but he still played well when Marv came back, right? In that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he still had 7 targets. Now, he only caught 3 catches for 36, but he was still targeted 7 times. And the biggest thing here you're worried about is, will Marv eat into that volume? And I'm not expecting it to be a massive detriment to him. Let's go ahead and take over on the super chat here from TD with a $5 super chat. Very much appreciate it. Said, hey, Pete, Troy from X. What's up, Troy? Good to see you, man. Who has the highest ceiling? Egbuka, Kamani Vidal, Rico Dowdle, or Michael Carter in PPR? Thank you so much. Yeah, Kamani Vidal is interesting. I would say the ceiling is not as high because he's in a timeshare, right? And Kamani Vidal has still gotten a very, very heavy workload. He goes up against the Dallas Cowboys defense, but he's still going to be splitting time with Hampton. And, it was kind of weird, right? Like Vidal has played 60% of the snaps. the past two back-to-back weeks with Hampton back, but Hampton still saw more touches last week than Vidal did. Now, again, he takes on a Cowboys defense who right now to the running back position, Cowboys are 30th when it comes to points allowed to running backs right now. So they've been pretty stingy over the last 4 weeks. I'm sorry, flip side. Apologize. Do not listen to what I said. They're 11th when it comes to points allowed to the running back position, 23.1 points. They've given up 4 touchdowns, so 1 touchdown per game, 21 receptions. I don't think upside is there for Vidal as much as it would be for Egbuka and Rico Dowdle. Michael Carter is interesting because, he's been receiving 4 targets per game over the last 4 weeks, even before Bam Knight went down. Now, Carter is in a game for the Arizona Cardinals where we just talked about, Michael Carter playing. Uh, now I'm drawing a blank here. Michael Carter plays Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons, and I mean, I'm not super jacked up to play Michael Carter if I'm looking for ceiling. I mean, Michael Carter, as I stated, look, he was running back 17 last week. He had 17. I'm sorry, he had 5 receptions. No, my gosh, I'm looking at Michael Wilson. I'm all out of whack today. Hold on. I need to take a sip here really quick. Um, Regardless, Michael Wilson is not the guy. If you're looking for ceiling, I think this really for me is between Rico and Egbuka. I don't love the matchup for Rico or Egbuka. I mean, this is a tough spot when we're talking ceiling here. I have Egbuka at 28 this week. I think Rico Dowdle gets the most volume out of all these players, but I don't have Rico ranked that high either. I have him at 23. Rico's playing against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you know, the skill set of Rico against Tampa, Rico's gonna have to run up the middle, not run up the middle, but he runs in between the tackles. That's a skill set, and that's the strength of that run defense is, in the middle of that front. And Rico Dowdle has been good though. I mean, you look at 11.4, 7. Well, this is standard. Um, from a PPR standpoint, 12.4, 9.9, 11.4, 15. Honestly, I would probably say it's still Egbuka if you're looking for ceiling, but I don't think the ceiling is that far off from Rico Dowdle. I think Rico is a safer play. I think the ceiling is pretty close. I would probably still roll with Rico Dowdle because the problem is I have Mike Evans ranked extremely high this week. I have Mike Evans, I think, at my wide receiver 10, 11 this week, 10. And so with Evans back, with Jalen McMillan back, Chris Godwin, it's just more mouths to feed. And the connection wasn't great to begin with before those guys came back. Now they're back. So I would say it's Rico Dowdle. If you're looking for ceiling, it's Rico for me. I think he has the best ceiling. And that doesn't even mean I love Rico this week, but I think that's your best bet if we're talking ceiling. Max Keller said Kyron over Rico and Henry this week. I don't have Kyron ranked that high this week. I have Derrick Henry ranked 12th. Derrick Henry, Robert Spillane has been banged up. Robert Spillane, middle linebacker for the Patriots. Derrick Henry goes up against them, and Milton Williams has been out. Right, the Patriots have been susceptible to giving up points on the ground to the running back position. I know Derrick Henry has been disappointing, but he's got the best matchup in this one. And eventually, I just feel like he's got to get going. And he didn't play bad last week. I mean, if I pull up his numbers really quick, Derrick Henry, I believe he had 100 yards, right? 100 yards rushing. Yeah. 11 carries, though, which is just absolutely nuts. But 11 carries for 100 yards. So I mean, I would go with Derrick Henry. I think he's got the best matchup. That would be the guy I would roll out. I have Kyron at 17, so I got him 5 spots below. And I have Rico Dowdle at 23. Struggling to decide Stafford or Shaw. Yeah, It's just tough matchup for Stafford this week, but you got to go with Stafford. I know I'm not extremely high on Stafford, but to me, of course, my cat is back. To me, you got to go with Matthew Stafford in this matchup instead of Shaw. He's just too hot. Give me 1 second. On these Thursday night shows, my cat almost always makes an entrance. Um, I I I shut the door. My dog wants to be in the room. He doesn't want to be in the room. I knew as soon as I let the door open so he could leave the room, he'd want to come back in. So I had to leave it open, and then the cat comes back. Um, but yeah, I have Stafford at 16. I have Tyler Shaw at 19. I mean, no Devon Vele this week, no Devin Neal. I think Shaw is an interesting play. I think if your gut tells you to go Shaw, it's not like Stafford is the clear cut better player. Keep in mind, Matthew Stafford had his worst game of the season against the Seattle Seahawks, and honestly, I'm okay going Tyler Shuck over Matthew Stafford this week. I think it's okay if you want to go ahead and do that. I think even if he's down some weapons, the Jets have been bad, and he's playing at home while Stafford's playing away in the rain against a defense that gave him trouble last time they played. So I'm good with that. Sebastian, Superflex, who to sit? Jordan Love, Stafford, or Purdy? Yeah, it would be Stafford for me. I'm also starting CMC and Colby Parkinson. Yeah, I think that's fine. But Stafford would be who I sit. I have Brock Purdy ranked extremely high this week. He's my quarterback 5. Um, so I really like Brock Purdy this week. I love Jared Goff. He's my quarterback 4. So that would be how I would roll. Thrill said, Ken Walker, Estime, Michael Carter, Quorum, PPR need 1. Ooh, man. Uh, I'm not really in a position where I trust starting Audric Estime. I really, Evan Hull's there. Um, I'm not in love with the idea of going with him. I would go with Michael Carter here, pretty comfortably. Over Kenneth Walker as well. I go with Michael Carter here pretty comfortably. I know people want to go with Corum. It's still a tough matchup. He's still in a timeshare. He's not the lead back. He's played well, but I'm going with Michael Carter. Now, for those that do have maybe some defense questions, I did just post on X as well as our community page here on YouTube my updated rankings. There was some shifts. Seattle did move up a decent amount. The Cowboys moved back a decent amount, and the Bengals, of course, got a jump. In the rankings with now Tua being benched. So if you have defense questions and you don't want to wait until I get to them, you can definitely check that out. I have them there. Otherwise, you'll just have to kind of hang tight and wait unless you send in a super chat. So just a heads up. That way you guys don't have to, wait if you want to go check out those rankings. Tyler Sperry said Jaden Reed or Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith isn't reliable. Yeah, I'm still going Jaden Reed. I'm still going with Devonta Smith though. Jaden Reed has been more involved. If Christian Watson doesn't play here, I would be more inclined to go with Jaden Reed, but the problem is that the Bears secondary is getting healthy. Jalen Johnson's back. Their defense has gotten some players back. Packers are going to have to go on the road in that one. I think Christian Watson, honestly, him being back may be a benefit to Jaden Reed, not a deterrent. And there's a lot of mouths to feed on that offense. Devonta Smith, I have at 19. He's playing against Washington. Washington's defense is terrible. Terrible. I wouldn't even consider it, honestly. Even if I know I said maybe if Christian Watson's down, I wouldn't even consider it. I would go with Devonta Smith. Yeah, sure. Isn't reliable now. This guy was awesome for a large part of the season. I know, he has, it's really been more of, AJ Brown, but I mean, for a large portion of the season, I mean, he was very, very good. Now he's slowed down. And last week he only had 2 targets, but prior to last week, he had 8 targets, 11 targets, 5 targets, 7 targets, 9 targets, 11 targets. I mean, he had only 2 games since week 7 where he had under 8 targets. So I'm under 7 targets. So yeah, I would go with Devonta Smith. Baby Ice, semifinals madness. My running backs are bad. Jalen Warren, Monungai, Tony Pollard, pick two. Blake Corum and Estime are on waivers still. Yeah, I would go with Tony Pollard, and it would be between Monungai and it would be between Jalen Warren for me. Jalen Warren in a timeshare, but I mean, he's still getting work, and that's a game that they're going to be playing from behind in. So I would go with Jalen Warren here. And I would go with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's been hot. It's a tough matchup against Kansas City. You kind of just got to go out there, hold your nose, and just hope that he can continue it. Because the good news for Tony Pollard is that Kansas City now does not have a good quarterback. They have Gardner Minshew. This game's not going to be a shootout where Tony Pollard is not going to get as much touches, and it's going to be a lot of Tyjae Spears in the pass game because the game gets out of hand. Like, I don't expect that. I expect this to be a close game. It's a 3-point spread where Kansas City's favored on the road -3. So I would say Jalen Warren. I would say Tony Pollard. Iggy, it doesn't look like Rice is going to play, which means I have to start JMO and Olave. I have CMC, Henderson, Woody, and Kyron. And then okay. So should I start Kyron or Woody? I would start Kyron Williams. People are higher on Woody Marks this week. He's banged up. He continues to leave games early. Woody Marks has been in a lot of matchups that feel like smashes, and he just doesn't produce a lot of times. It's happened. It's happened a lot. Now he goes up against the Raiders, and I get it. You expect them to be up in this game, and maybe they say, "Hey, let's run the football. We got to get this run game going here." But I, 15.6, 10.8, 7.7, 6.1, 7.9. I mean, he just hasn't been awesome. Whereas it's Kyron Williams. I understand that, Blake Corum is getting involved, and this is a tough matchup with the Seattle Seahawks defense, but I'll die on the sword with Kyron Williams. I think the upside is higher. I think it's a more competitive game. I think there's more points in that game. I'll go with Kyron Williams. That's how I'll roll. Um, Let's see. Start Jason Myers or Fairbairn. I'm starting Fairbairn. Exact same situation I'm in. I have Jason Myers. I just picked up Fairbairn. I'm not starting Jason Myers. I actually kept Jason Myers, but I might drop him. It's a deep league. There's not much left on waivers, so at this point it might be beneficial just to keep Jason Myers. But I'm keeping him on the bench. But I'm starting Fairbairn for sure. Schultz, Loveland, or Waller scares me. Yeah, Waller with you know Quinn Ewers at quarterback. I have Colson Loveland as the number one here. I have Dalton Schultz as number two, and I have Darren Waller at number three. So, I'm actually pretty in line with you. I think Schultz and Loveland are close. I think Schultz is maybe feels a little bit safer, but look, Loveland's going up against Green Bay. It's not the easiest matchup for Loveland, but with Roma Dunze out, with Luther Burden out, they're going to have to rely on DJ Moore. They're going to have to rely on Colston Loveland. They're going to have to rely on the running backs in this game, and so I think that should bode well, for Colston Loveland. Now, fantasy points per game for to the tight end position, Packers have been kind of stingy to the tight end position, right? 29th when it comes to points allowed, just 8.1. They've given up just one touchdown in 4 games, 15 receptions, 115 yards. So it's not really what you want to hear. If you want the safe play, it's Dalton Schultz, in my opinion. If you want the upside play with maybe a little more risk, it's Colson Loveland. And that's why I have Loveland ranked higher, because I prefer upside for the most part in the playoffs over safe floor plays. Colson Loveland, last time he played against them, he had 12.9 fantasy points, four receptions, 29 yards, and he did score that touchdown. So in the last 4 weeks, he's the only tight end to score a touchdown against Green Bay, because he scored one 2 weeks ago. So that's how I would look at it. Let's see. Adam said pick up Parkinson or stick with Kelsey, also starting Kyron, or keep ETN in versus Denver. Yeah, I would roll with ETN versus Denver. ETN's been way too hot with no Bayshall Tootin. I can't not start him. I know Denver's is very sketchy, but Josh Jacobs just had a nice game against Denver. I expect there to be points in that game. So I'm gonna roll with Travis Etienne, who's not splitting any time, and he's been. I mean, sure, LaQuinn Allen will probably get in the mix a little bit, but Travis Etienne has been very, very good. It's so hard not to play him. And Seattle's a tough matchup too for Kyron. If Kyron had a smash matchup, you might feel otherwise, but he doesn't. Um, Parkinson or Kelsey, I'm going to go with Travis Kelsey in this one. I'm expecting Rashi Rice not to play when you get put in the concussion protocol on a Wednesday. Uh, I don't feel confident that he's gonna make it through. Kelsey's my tight end 5 on the week. Kobe Parkinson is my tight end 9. What a world that we're in, that we're in the fantasy football playoffs and Colby Parkinson is in the top 10 rankings for tight ends. But this is how fantasy goes. It's unpredictable, man. Um, Trevor, what's up, man? Good to see you. Michael Wilson, George Pickens, or Cortland Sutton? Oh man, you hit me with sometimes the hardest questions. This is one I have Michael Wilson. If Marvin Harrison doesn't play, Michael Wilson is the play here for me. If Marvin Harrison does play, I have him right next to Cortland Sutton. I have Sutton at 16. I have Pickens at 17. I would not play Pickens over Michael Wilson though. Pickens has been kind of struggling the last few weeks, and the Chargers defense to the wide receiver position has been really good. Pickens, sorry, Michael Wilson plays against the Atlanta Falcons, 41.2 fantasy points per game over the last 4 weeks. So I'm probably going with Michael Wilson in this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars, uh, they rank 14th, so 31.9 points per game. Even if Marv plays, there should be some meat on the bone left for Michael Wilson. It's probably more of meat on the bone left for Marv because Michael Wilson is the wide receiver 1 if you're not considering Trey McBride as a wide receiver. So I would go with Michael Wilson still here over Cortland Sutton and Pickens. But if you don't want to go with Wilson, it would be It would be Sutton over Pickens. I mean, Pickens goes up against the Chargers, and the Chargers haven't given up a single touchdown to wide receivers over the last 3 weeks. I say 3 weeks or the last 3 games. I say 3 games because in the last 4 weeks they only played 3 times. So they have a bye mixed in there, and I don't feel like filtering and changing the filter to add an extra week to get that. So, um, the End Flower said Corum, Kenneth Walker, or Keenan Allen. I'm gonna go with Keenan Allen here in a game that's gonna be high scoring. Both Corum and Kenneth Walker have tough matchups. Kenneth Walker and that running game looked absolutely terrible last week. Kenneth Walker looks like he lost that quote unquote, oh, he's gonna be the starter. It looks like that is gone. I don't think that's a thing. I would honestly I would be more confident in starting Blake Corum over Kenneth Walker at this point. Um, it's just where I'm at with Kenneth Walker, man. I mean, it just looks so bad. Uh, so yeah, I mean that would be I would roll with Keenan Allen though. I mean, I know I'm talking about the running backs, but I would roll with Keenan Allen, higher scoring game. I think Keenan is the play for me here, especially if Quentin Johnson doesn't play. Loveland or Parkinson, we talked about this a little bit. I would go with Loveland. Kelsey or Parkinson, we talked about this. I would go with Kelsey. Everybody wants to talk about Kobe Parkinson. Kobe Parkinson or Jake Ferguson. I'm going with, I think Kobe Parkinson. Let me just verify that. Yeah, I would go with Kobe Parkinson. I have Jake Ferguson ranked decently low. I have met my tight end 20 this week. Things have just looked a lot different in this offense with both receivers back. Ferguson has slowed down a little bit, and the Chargers defense is no joke, man. I mean, it's a good unit, and Jake Ferguson hasn't eclipsed over 12 fantasy points since week 7. So I think a lot of guys have higher ceilings than him this week. Uh, I don't know who Ragone is, but it would be Quorum for me. I don't know who Ragone is. And I know that's a spelling mistake. I just can't figure out who you mean in that one. Parkinson or Fannin? I'm going with Fannin. Bo Nix or Dak Prescott? I'll go with Dak Prescott. Um, Daniel said, thanks for the advice. Good luck to everyone this week. Good luck to you, man. Appreciate you popping in. Uh, Brock Purdy or CJ? Yeah, I have Brock Purdy ranked extremely high. I have him as my quarterback 5 this week. I like CJ Stroud. He's my quarterback 12, I believe. But I would go with Purdy this week. That's my lean. Jacoby Myers or Michael Carter? Um, I'm actually gonna go. If you want the safer play, I think it's Michael Carter. If you want the ceiling play, I think it's Jacoby Myers. Jacoby probably not gonna get Pat Surtain. It's probably gonna be BTJ, high scoring game. I would go with Myers, but he's a little bit more risky. Carter is really that higher floor, and he provides some decent upside this week as well. Travis Kelce or Fannin. I have Fannin at 4. I have Kelce at 5. So I would go with Fannin this week. Um, but it's a coin flip. If your gut tells you to go with, if your gut's telling you go with Kelce, then go with Kelce. Super chat from CJ. What's up, man? Appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Two flex: Jaden Reed, Michael Carter, Jalen Warren, Jaden Higgins, and Rashid Shaheed. So I'm gonna right off the bat. I'm not playing Rashid Shaheed today. In this bad weather game, I just don't trust Sam Darnold tonight, like at all. I worry he gets forced off the spot. Last time that they played the Rams, it looked really bad. We're talking about a bad weather game in bad conditions, and a tough defense that had his number last time they played. And I'm not really excited to start Shaheed this week. So I'm definitely not starting Shaheed. Um, Michael Carter, Jalen Warren, Jaden Higgins. Let me see where I have Higgins. I have Higgins at 41. I would definitely start Reed over Higgins. It's really between the two running backs here and Jaden Reed. Uh, Man. Yeah, I would say Jalen Warren would. I would say Michael Carter. I would say Michael Carter. For one, and then it's between Warren and Jaden Reed. I think I would still go with the running backs. I know Jaden Reed has been involved a little bit more, but I don't expect that game to be high scoring. And there's a world where you can look at it two ways. You can say if Christian Watson's out, Jaden Reed's going to get more volume. You could also say if Christian Watson's in, Jaden Reed should be getting less attractive coverage. Like Jalen Johnson's back, he's going to play. So I would go with Jalen Warren. The targets and the receiving volume is there. I think they're going to be playing from behind in that one. So I would go with the two running backs. I would go with the two running backs. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Um, let's go back to Bills defense or Seattle. I would go with Bills defense. Still have Bills ranked as a top 3 unit. If you want to play the Saints over the Bills, totally understand that. Houston is number 1 though by far. But yeah, I would go with the Bills. Seems like consensus is split this on DST this week between Eagles and Chiefs. Yeah, which I am not high on the Chiefs this week. I talked about this on my video earlier this week. I have the Chiefs at 10, but I have the Eagles ranked higher. I have the Eagles at 4. You can make a case that they bump down to 5 and the Rams go ahead of them. I certainly, wouldn't uh, I wouldn't I wouldn't be upset with that, but it's still a Thursday night game. Games are kind of weird on Thursday. But the Eagles at 4, I have the Chiefs at 10. The Tennessee Titans do not give up a lot of points in fantasy to opposing defenses, and it was completely different to start the year. I talked about this a lot on my show, my video this week, but you know I think this is a low scoring game. I think the Chiefs are going to be a high floor unit, but they don't generate a ton of pressure, right? And so the running game with Tony Pollard, I think they're going to run the football. The Titans are not going to feel like they have to throw the football a ton in this one, and the Chiefs don't generate a lot of pressure as it is. So, yeah, I'm going with the Eagles pretty comfortably. Jenny, what's going on? Said Dak, CJ Brissett this week. I prefer Dak Prescott this week. I know he's got the Chargers. It's a little bit of a tougher matchup, but I prefer Dak. I do have Jacoby at 9. I have CJ at 12. I think it's close with Jacoby and Dak. If you want to go with Jacoby, I won't tell you not to. Dak had a bad game last week, but he'd been phenomenal all year before that in fantasy. Um, so let's see. I think there was maybe a trade in this league that I'm in here. Dynasty. Hmm. Um, yeah, no problem. Thanks for dropping in. Amazon Pancake said, running with the Seahawks tonight. I can't forfeit not getting a possible boom game, and the weather's supposed to be pretty bad. No, I mean, yeah, I moved Seattle up. I moved Seattle up. I think it's okay if you want to take a chance on them. I don't think this game is as high scoring as it maybe would have been if the weather was better. I have the Seahawks at 11. I have them one spot behind the Chiefs, and honestly, I could see a world where I have them ahead of the Chiefs. So I think it's okay if you want to run them out there. They've got you there. Totally okay with that. Rumi said Tet, Omar and Hampton, Waller, Aaron Jones need to sit too. Also, if possible, Chiefs, Eagles, or Vikings defense. Thank you and happy holidays. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm going with Ted McMillan for sure to play. So, all right, so you need to sit 2 here. Yeah, I would be sitting Darren Waller, and I would be sitting Aaron Jones. Now, Aaron Jones gets a good matchup this week against the Giants. They are very, very close. I mean, Aaron Jones is at 21, Hampton's at 20. So it's a coin flip. If your gut's telling you to go with Aaron Jones over Hampton, go for it. I would not tell you not to be. So I'm okay with going with that. I always tell people when guys are this close to my rankings and they're not like extremely high up in the rankings, then go with your gut, right? But I would say that I'm benching Jones here and I'm benching Darren Waller, and then for the defense, I'm playing the Eagles. JP, what's going on? Said yo Parkinson, Schultz, or Loveland. Everybody loves Parkinson tonight. I'm going with Loveland here, and then I'm going with Schultz. I think Schultz provides a safer floor. But from a PPR standpoint, I think Loveland provides the higher upside and ceiling with a lower floor. So I'm going with Loveland, and Parkinson would be my third option out of those guys. Joshua said, roll with Burrow or pick up Rogers, JJ. Yeah, I wouldn't overthink that. I would go with Burrow. PPR, Parkinson, Warren, or Loveland. Would you play Myers? I'm not sure if the answer just joined. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm going with Loveland, and then for Myers, I'm assuming you mean the quarterback and the kicker. I just swapped him out for Fairborn. I'm not playing him with the wind tonight and the weather, and he's been good. And if he has a good night, so be it. But I'm not taking that chance, especially because in my league, I mean, I don't know if your leagues do it, but if you miss field goals, you lose points. And some leagues don't do that, but I ain't taking no chance like that. Bowers, Goddard, Schultz, start one and flex one. Yeah, I'm starting Dallas Goddard. Dallas Goddard is the higher guy here of all of these players. Brock Bowers would be the second highest. So I would go with Goddard and I'd flex Brock Bowers. Bowers and Schultz are closer than Goddard and Bowers to me, in my opinion. I mean, Goddard plays Washington, and Bobby Wagner is just not covering people very well right now. And I mean, credit to him. I mean, the dude's ancient and he's still playing good football. So, Oliver, Warren or Kobe Parkinson? Colby Parkinson here. I will go Colby Parkinson here. Everybody loves Colby Parkinson. Should I stick with the Seattle defense or switch it to Jags versus Broncos? I'm going with Seattle tonight. I will go with Seattle tonight. I'm not excited about Jags versus Broncos. Broncos tackles have given up 1 sack this year. Um, Seattle has been opportunistic in turning and creating turnovers, and Denver doesn't give up many turnovers either. So, you're asking, for something to happen that hasn't happened much. I know Jags defense has been very solid this year in terms of fantasy, but not excited to play them. Josh, Pickens, DK, Jaden Reed. Also, thank you for helping DST all year. Yeah, no problem, Josh. Thanks for popping in. Ooh, man. I'm definitely not going Jaden Reed over either of these two guys, but DK Metcalf is the guy I would play here. Secondary for the Lions is kind of beat up right now. They lost Brian Branch, so that's a big blow in that secondary. And Detroit giving up the most points to the wide receiver position this year. I think this is going to be a game where the Steelers are going to be chasing points, and DK Metcalf should have a good week. George Pickens, we talked about him before, going up against the Chargers, and Chargers haven't given up a single touchdown to wide receivers in the past 4 weeks. So I'm not super excited to start George Pickens this week. So I would say DK Metcalf is the play for me. Mike, what's going on?
I got some comments on X and said that this show sucked,
I
so
hear
they
you.
needed
Hold
my
on.
help. So, hold on. Don't hear me? Oh, wait, hold on. Wait for him.
Nah, I hear you now. I didn't have my sound turned on my monitor.
No, I was getting notifications on X said that this stream sucked, so I figured I'd come in here for about 10, 15 minutes and try and help you out a little bit.
Nah, I appreciate you saving me. It's
Yeah.
tough, so I appreciate that.
No, that's fine. People are probably pissed that I'm here. Anyway, how's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Not bad. Just finished some dinner. Looks like, I'll say this, for all the Jason Myers worries, it looks like the wind is calming down. The rain's pretty much died down. So, yeah, just putting that out there.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna take. Someone just asked me about it. I'm still not gonna take that chance there.
I don't judge anybody for taking the chance. The only thing I'd say is if you have him, I would say try not to drop him. Like, keep him on your bench so you can use him for next week.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'd say. Yeah. So.
Yeah. By the way, crazy enough, I don't have Bowers ranked that high this week. I mean, their point total is 11.75 points for the Eagles. I mean, for the Raiders.
Right.
I know it's Brock Bowers, and I get it. People don't want to bench their quote unquote studs, but I mean, Bowers has only been a top 5 tight end 3 times this year.
It's been bad. It's been bad. I'm very curious to see where his draft cost goes next year. Not to mention playing at the Texans. I mean, the Texans aren't exactly accommodating to opposing tight ends.
11.75 points. You're hoping that Bowers gets a million touches. He's not scoring a touchdown, very likely. Now it could happen, but very, very unlikely.
Like the Texans allowed last week. I know they allowed a lot to tight ends last week. So prior to last week, they allowed 96.2 points to the tight end position. Last week, they allowed 36.3. This is a huge jump in points, but like that's not how it's going to always be.
And it's also an offense that's way, way better, like the light years better.
Sure.
I mean, the Raiders might be the worst offense in football right now.
I think it's fair. Yeah. Shout out Kronster. But yeah.
We did get a super chat from Blaine. Said Stafford or Bryce Young with the weather in mind. I'm still going to go with Matt Stafford. Bryce Young does get Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, that defense hasn't looked great. I don't know, man. One of these teams I would think is going to show up this week. They both dropped games last week. Tampa Bay's secondary is kind of beat up right now. But I'm still going to go with Matthew Stafford. I mean, he had his toughest game, his worst game against Seattle this year. But I'm still going to roll with Stafford. I mean, I'll die on the sword with Stafford. I think the upside's higher. If he's on tonight, you'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, there's certain instances in which I would pivot off of Stafford, but not even because of the weather. Because, like you said, last time he played Seattle, he didn't play so hot. It was actually, I think, it was one of his worst fantasy games of the year. But again, it sounds like the weather's not going to be that bad out there. But yeah, in this case, I still go Stafford. I mean, somebody asked me on X, they said Bo Nix or Stafford. That one, I said I could do Bo Nix there. But if it's Bryce
Yeah, I'd
Young,
go with
no,
Nick there.
yeah, I'm still riding with Stafford in that one. That's not really.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Um, by the way, I had a good week last week on Fantasy Pros. I came out in 27th. So
Look
I
at
was,
you.
and I seventh in ranking defenses last week. So it was a good week for DST for me too.
And I still
Um,
have one of my underdog best ball, my one of those Millie Maker lineups. The whole millionaire
huh.
lineup, best ball
I,
mania,
I'm
whatever.
all of my underdog in DraftKings. I didn't advance any of those teams after last week. Not a single team.
Yeah, I have one team left. Yeah.
By the way, no player tonight is minus to score. Like not minus 120. The highest odds to score is Kyron Williams at plus 120 tonight.
I
Toby
want to
Myers just
see.
signed an extension, by the way, too, with the
Yeah,
Jags.
I want to see, since they're saying the win's not bad. I want to see if they what the field goal odds are for Jason Myers. That
Well,
might be
let's see. I
interesting because
mean,
they're attempting the most field goals on a per game basis in the NFL, with the Texans not too far behind. We were having that conversation off air when
well,
you were
he
texting me.
Jason Myers is at minus 186 for two field goals, plus 161 for three,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See. Yeah. No.
and
So
his
so,
kicking
so
points
that's smart. Good.
yeah, is at 8. So that means they think two field goals, two extra points. That's what they think.
Kicking points are at 8, while he has averaged 12.2 points a season.
It's not fantasy points. This is kicking like physical actual points in the NFL. So they think
What? So we're saying field goals. Yeah.
two
So
field
two
goals, and
field
then
goes,
two extra
6, and then
points.
2 extra points. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm well, because my scoring here, it's not included with like distance. It's included. It's that.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's
yeah,
field
I
goals
play
and
all
extra
my
points.
leagues includes distance. Yeah, all my leagues
Yeah.
include distance.
Well, I get my stuff off of fantasy data where they don't incorporate that, like, distance and so on and so forth. So this is just
I
strictly
gotcha.
based off of field goals, and yeah. So
Okay.
maybe I jump on that.
Uh, Daly said Love or Darnold. It's got to be Love. I'm not starting Darnold tonight. Not a million
Yeah, it's
fucking
love.
years.
I'm not a big fan of love, but yeah,
Yeah. Ruben with a super chat. Appreciate that. Said Devonta, Tracy, Aaron Jones in the flex. It's not Aaron Jones for me. Aaron Jones has a good matchup. I get it. Goes against the Giants. But it's between Tracy and Devonta Smith for me. Devonta plays Washington. I'm going with Devonta Smith here. I like Tyrone Tracy. I have Tracy ranked decently high this week. But I'm gonna go with Devonta Smith. I have Tracy at 18. I have Smith at 19 at their respective positions. But I mean, Washington's defense is terrible. If
yeah.
there's a get right game for any quarterback in the NFL, it's the Washington Commanders.
Mm. Yeah, I think I go Devonta Smith, but Tyrone Trace is extremely close. I mean, the Vikings defense is good overall, but they do allow a decent amount of points to the running back position. I mean, 3 out of the last 4 weeks, they've allowed at least 20 points to opposing running backs. So,
They fucking stink, dude. Terrible.
what? Who stinks? What are you
You
saying?
said the Vikings. You said Washington.
Yeah. No. I'm saying the Vikings, because I'm
Like,
saying for as good as the defense is, people are worried about Jackson Dart. They don't give up a lot to quarterbacks. They do give up a decent amount to running backs. You know what? I
Vikings
go
are
Tyron
also missing.
Tracy.
They're also missing some guys. I get it. Tracy feels like the safer play. I'm still probably going with Devonta Smith. Tracy's going to be in a more competitive game, so it's a coin flip. It's not like I totally understand. Like if you want to go with Tracy, he'll be in a more competitive game. Most likely, there's a good chance that Washington gets their teeth kicked in. It's very, very possible.
It is very, very possible.
So, Todd said, super chat, $2 said, need a defense, please. Broncos or the Saints. Yeah, I'm going with the Saints. Going up against a rookie quarterback. making his second NFL start on the road in the Saints building, which is a very tough place to play. That defense has played very, very good over the last couple weeks. They have two really good wins against the Bucks, against the Panthers. I'm comfortably going with the Saints here, and I like Denver. But Denver's going up against a much better offense. It's not even close. So,
and I defer all
Sean,
DST stuff to you.
yeah.
Hmm.
Sean with a super chat, appreciate that. Said May or any guys you pointed out during the Week 16 waiver picks up to be safer, a safer bet. Did you do the Week 16 waiver pickups, or
I
was
did
that
not.
Steve?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, that video was probably Steve. Yeah,
I don't know. Did they? I don't think they went live on
I
on
thought
Tuesday.
they did. I saw.
Did he?
Well, maybe they didn't. Maybe they're
Well,
referring to the quarterback video.
well, either way, I have Drake May ranked as my quarterback 3 this week. So I'm starting Drake May. I don't know what quarterbacks you could pick up on waivers. I don't really care. I'm not starting them over Drake May. It's just not happening.
Okay.
This isn't even like a, start your studs kind of thing. Drake May, if you just look at what he's done I mean, this guy has had under 15 fantasy points one time, and it was week 5. I mean, he's pretty much giving us 18 to about a 20-point floor right now. So, yeah, I'm not. I know it's Baltimore. Their defense has been better, but Drake May for me that I mean, I don't know who the other quarterbacks on your waivers are available. So if you want to send
Right.
that in, Sean, I look at them, but I'm telling you now, there's a very good chance that none of them are going to
He
be
said
higher.
question is
Yeah,
above in the
I see it.
chat. Oh,
And
you
so I
saw it.
just pulled it. It's right here.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought there was
Yeah,
more
he sent in
context.
the
Never
he
mind.
sent in
My
the
bad.
super chat without a question, and then then it
Got it.
was yeah. So,
We're all good here.
um, let's see. Daysful said Parkinson Schultz or Jake Ferguson half PPR. I would have saved you a couple bucks here because we've gotten this question so many times. If you just rewinded the rewinded the show, you would have heard it because I've gotten so many Kobe Parkinson questions. I am going with Dalton Schultz over Colby Parkinson. I think Dalton Schultz and Parkinson have similar ceilings. I think the floor is safer for Dalton Schultz. I'm sorry. I have these guys back to back. I have Parkinson at 9. I have Schultz at 10. I think the ceiling is higher for Colby Parkinson. I think the floor is safer for Dalton Schultz, which is why I have Parkinson one tick ahead. Um, so it depends. I mean, but I think Schultz is a safer play if you're looking for the safe play. He's been consistently involved in this offense for like 8 weeks. I mean, everybody's in on Colby Parkinson this week, and I get it. He's looked good, but he hasn't consistently been involved like Dalton Schultz has. And if you think we're thinking it with Davante Adams out, I bet Seattle is sitting here thinking about Colby Parkinson and how involved he's been in lately. You know?
Yeah, if this was a standard league, I would go Parkinson. But since it's not, it's PPR, then I'm going Schultz here.
Okay.
But yeah.
Mobbin, what's up, man? Been a little bit of time. Appreciate the super chat. Said Myers, weather, or grab Bates, and then we can go over the rest. But Hoff, why don't you go ahead and answer that one?
I'm still sticking with Myers. Again, they're saying the wind is not as bad as they thought it was going to be. So I'm still going Myers. If you want to go Jake Bates, you can. He's my 11th ranked kicker. I'm curious to see if there's any other options. I was actually shocked at the amount of Fairbairns that were still available. But yeah, I'm still riding with Myers. Again, yeah. If it's me, I'm going Myers. But if you want to go Bates, you can.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Appreciate the super chat. And we're just gonna I'm just
well,
gonna
he has
start
the back
answering
end of that
questions.
question. He's got the
Oh,
back end of that.
duh,
Yeah.
sorry. Um we're going to answer the rest of this question, and then we're going to start from Ben and then continue down since we're a little bit behind on the questions. So just resend in your question if you're not sending in a super chat. Kyron Judkins, Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, Mike Evans, Juwan Jennings. I am extremely high on Mike Evans this week, Hoff. I'm sure you are as
Mhm.
well. You're a huge Mike
Yep.
Evans fan. I have Mike Evans as my wide receiver 10 this week. I actually have Juwan Jennings ranked really, really high as well.
Yeah.
I think I have Jennings ranked as like my wide receiver 14 this week.
Ooh.
I would be inclined to start both of those guys. If you don't want to start Jennings, he'd be the pivot out of the two wide receivers. Then I would go with one of the running backs in Kyron or Judkins. And I would go with Judkins if I was going to make the pivot. But I'm probably going with the two wide receivers in Mike Evans and Juwan Jennings.
I'd go he says 2 RBs, 1 flex. So
Oh gosh, I'm just terrible at reading these questions. So then
you
Mike
are.
Evans for me, and then I would start Kyron and Judkins. I did all that, and it made it much simpler.
That's fine. I'm doing the same thing. I just wanted to float it out there that Pearsall, they're saying he's feeling better. He has a shot to play, but you're waiting till Monday night to find out. So
I'm so
yeah,
sick of it.
me too.
I'm sure
Me
you are.
too. Yep. I mean, I love the guy,
Somebody
but
tweeted. Somebody tweet. First of all, this is the shit I'm talking about. The most random tweets get engagement on Twitter. All I said is this game is giving me bad vibes tonight.
oh
I got
yes,
a
I saw that one.
thousand likes on that tweet. 1,000 likes
A
for
lot of
what?
people, a lot of people are worried. A lot of people are
Dude,
worried.
I think I come up with some funny tweets sometimes, some well-crafted tweets, and I get like 6, 7 likes on them, and I put the most basic tweet, and I get 1,000 likes on it. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh man,
It's ridiculous.
take
Makes
it
no
however you
sense.
can get it.
I guess somebody tweeted and said, "Grok, can this game be can this game be canceled?" Grok
Hmm.
said, "NFL games aren't typically canceled for rain. They play through it unless there's lightning or extreme conditions. The Rams Seahawks game is still on schedule at 5:15 despite the weather. Check updates closer to kickoff."
You got it.
Uh,
Ridiculous.
good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Sean came back. Appreciate it, Sean. And he said, "Flex, Reed, Estimate, Waller, or Corum." It's between Jaden Reed and Corum for me. I am at the point where I have Blake Corum ahead. Oh, not dude. My brain is scrambled eggs tonight, man.
What is wrong with you, man? Hooked on phonics, dude.
Yeah, tonight. Bad,
This is
bad, bad,
bad,
bad. But
man.
I would say it's between Waller and Jaden Reed for me. I think I'm going with Jaden Reed. I know Darren Waller's got the great matchup against Cincinnati. I don't know what to expect with Quinn Ewers. I really don't. Really have no freaking clue. I have no idea. I have Waller ranked decently high. I have him ranked higher than Jaden Reed. I just don't have him as an elite tight end. I have him ranked as like my tight end 12, 13 this week. And tight end 12, 13, Hoff, is like the equivalent of like a flex wide receiver. And that's how I view Jaden Reed this week. I view him as like a high end flex. Like you could even say maybe a low end wide receiver too.
Sure.
Tight ends just I know Waller's been good, but I'm rolling with Jaden Reed here.
I'm actually going Darren Waller by a hair, but I totally get everything you're saying. It's the matchup, and it's that thing we always say. What's a young quarterback's best friend?
Oh hell no! That's hell no!
I don't know what you want from me. The Bengals are historically bad against tight ends, like historically. It's like a
I
thing.
know.
Well, I don't know if you know. They've allowed 276.7 points to tight ends this year in half point formats. The next worst team, 201.7.
Yeah,
That's fucking bad. Like you have to try to be that bad.
I know.
I mean, fucking no wonder Joe Burrow's depressed. I'd be bummed too if I was playing with that defense. Man.
Sean said I broke him.
Yeah.
Mick, are you guys concerned at all about the Puka Nakua news? Well, Puka Nakua is in the news for anti-Semitism controversy. Okay, he was on stream with
I didn't see the
Aiden Ross
anti-Semitism.
and what'd you say?
I didn't see the anti-Semitism. That
Yeah,
happened?
I don't know. There was a dance that Aiden Ross asked him to do, and Puka said if he scored, he would do this dance that is supposed to be anti-Semitic. I have no idea. I think I'm
Yikes.
allowed to talk about this. I have Jewish family members. Okay, I've worn a yarmulke before. You can pull pictures of me at my uncle's wedding where I had a yarmulke on. So I think I'm okay to joke about this without getting in trouble. But
Well,
uh,
I mean, it's not even a joke.
I
It's
think
just news, you know. Yeah.
I know. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna play. I'm more concerned about Puka against this team in Seattle than I am
Yeah.
worried about anything happening. Puka ain't getting suspended. I think sometimes they say don't meet your heroes, and Puka, I think, made a mistake. Right? I don't
Mhm.
know. I try to give guys the benefit of the doubt sometimes. These guys they're filmed and videotaped more than they ever were in the past, right? So
Yeah.
they say stupid shit. They're young still. Their brains are mush a little bit because they get hit in the head for a living. So sometimes they say stupid shit. I'm sure he didn't mean it. I'm sure he's not an anti-Semite. But yeah, I think he probably was just pretty stupid. Now,
Yeah.
Puka's family members, his brothers have kind of it seems like a family that has a track record of getting in trouble. His brother
Yeah, because the
slapped that
brother,
fan.
right?
Yeah, he slapped that fan. And then his other brother, after a
Right.
game, punched the other guy, one of the other players while he was at BYU.
No, but didn't one of them just get arrested for stealing a car, or is that not
Oh,
true?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
Jesus
one of them got
Christ.
arrested for stealing a car. I guess stealing, I don't know.
What
They took it without asking or something. I don't know if they actually stole it, or
AKA
if
stealing?
they, I,
I mean,
I don't know. If I had to guess, he's probably friends with the guy. He probably fucking took the guy's car. Maybe the kid was high and stoned and thought he was being funny, and it was a joke that maybe the guy didn't think was funny. If I had to guess,
listen,
I'm
I'm
no
not
clue.
worried in terms of his performance on the field. He's probably going to catch a fine. I would just say, listen, we all find out that these wide receivers most of them are knuckleheads in some form or fashion. Some for more glaring
I'll go with
reasons.
them.
So I think we're just learning that Puka is not he's not the golden boy that we thought he is. That's it.
Well, he's just
Giving
got
us a
that
little
hair.
bad. What
He's
the
got
fuck
the
does that mean?
hair, the golden boy hair.
Okay. I will say I am frustratingly rooting for the Seahawks tonight, and I hate it. I hate everything about it. It makes me sick. Makes me want to vomit.
Sure. I mean, it opens the gate up for the 49ers.
Yeah.
I get it.
If the Seahawks win, the Niners control their own destiny to the 1 seed.
Oh, whatever, dude. The 49ers have such an easy schedule, man.
That's not my fucking fault. That's not their fault. You get the schedules put in front of you. What do you want from me? And
I
not
know.
to mention with the goddamn injuries they've had.
Take it easy.
Really? You want to do this?
Just
Jeez, like come on this show to try to be nice to you. You can't even read right. Talk about anti-Semitism shit, and just this is terrible. Anyway,
hopefully you're back next week, Sean. Hopefully you win.
yeah, hopefully we didn't scare you away.
What did you say?
I just said hopefully we didn't scare him away.
Nah, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Kobe Parkinson or Gadsden play. I do have Parkinson ahead of Gadsden, but I actually do happen to like Gadsden this week against the Cowboys.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm still going Parkinson.
Yeah, so am I. I have Gadsden at 11. I have Parkinson at 10. Jay said I need to pick up one wide receiver, one running back, one for flex. Not sure who I should be picking. Rico Dowdle, Gainwell, Woody Marks, Michael Wilson, Zay Flowers, Jacoby Myers. I'm going with Michael Wilson. He's playing against a defense that's given up 40 points per game over the last 4 weeks to the wide receiver position. Even if Marvin Harrison's back, I don't care. Michael Wilson has been awesome. I'm firing up Michael Wilson for sure at wide receiver. At the running back position, I'll go with Woody Marks, but I'm hesitant. I'm not that high on Woody Marks this week. I know everyone likes the matchup against the Raiders. You're thinking game script, they'll be ahead, they'll run the football. He continues to leave games early. So actually no, I have Woody Marks at 24, I have Rico at 23. So I would actually go with Rico over Woody Marks, which is maybe surprising. I don't know. Where do you like Woody this week? I worry about the injuries. He's still kind of banged up a little bit. And it just feels like a trap game. Like he's had a lot of really, really good matchups that he hasn't shown up in this year.
I'm kind of staying away because of the injuries. If not for the injuries, he would be my pick here. I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go Kenneth Gainwell here in this spot.
Or you could pick a flex. So you're taking
I know.
Gainwell for the RB1.
Yeah, I'll take Gainwell for the RB1. I'm still taking Michael Wilson. I agree with you. Marvin Harrison back doesn't really make me shake in my boots. After that though, I think I do Zay Flowers over Woody Marks just because I'm a little worried about the injuries. If there was no injuries involved, then Woody Marks would be my flex. But I am concerned. I mean, when you're elevating guys, I get it. He played this week, but when you're elevating guys off the practice squad, and there's all that uncertainty there. It's not a good vibe. They could be game planning to throw the ball more now in anticipation for the lack of running back depth that they have. We're not sure. We don't know.
So who would you go with for your flex then?
Zay Flowers. Then I'm going Gainwell, Michael Wilson, and then I'll take Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I'm going Michael Wilson, Dowdle, and Zay Flowers.
I do have to get out of here in a minute though, because I got to take the little people home. But
that's all right. We don't got too much left.
So soon you have to misread the questions by yourself.
That's fine. Start Quorum tonight, or wait for Mark's news and decide over Mark's or Estime. I think Marks is going to play.
I don't know if I want to gamble that though. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I don't know. I mean, is Quorum that much better of a start than Estime?
I think so. Yes. And you know me, I'm a big Kyron guy, big Kyron truther, but Quorum is getting work. And while the weather is dying down there in Seattle, I do think we're looking at more of a run game from the Rams. So, like, I could see Quorum getting in there for a cheap touchdown, get a couple receptions, get some yards, and all of a sudden his fantasy day is made. That's enough to beat out Estime.
Yeah, I would wait, but yeah, I mean, we're kind of divided there. That's fine. Seattle, Tampa, or Saints? I'm going with the Saints. I got Fairbairn last week because of your kicker video. Thank you, from Siobhan. Myers or Pivots or Reichert?
I'm still sticking with Myers. But if you're uncomfortable enough about the weather, because it is your team, you go with your gut. I'm still playing Myers, but Reichert is in my top 12. He's I believe he's 10 or 9 or 10, right around there. I'll double check that in a hot second. But he is 9. He's 9 for me. So solid play, but I'm still going Myers. But you could do worse than Reichert.
Jay said, full PPR, you guys said start Schultz over Parkinson. Now, I have Parkinson ahead by a hair, but I think if you're looking for the safer play, it's Schultz. I think if you're looking for the ceiling play, I think it's Parkinson.
I actually have Schultz ahead in PPR. If it was standard, I'd go the other way.
Judkins or Henderson? I'm going with Judkins against the Bills this week. Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson's still involved. You're really hoping that Henderson pops, and it's a good run defense with the Ravens.
Yeah, I got to bounce out of here now, but yeah, I'm going with Judkins. But
all right, I'll see you later, bud.
Later, Peter. If I could ever leave, it'll let me leave in a second, maybe.
Okay. Iggy said, what are the chances the Bears do have a decent game? I'm still going to pick the defenses this week. Currently have the Bucks. Yeah, I'm okay with going with the Bears defense. I think it's a low scoring game, so you have a decent floor. I don't know how high the ceiling is for the Bears defense. I think if you're looking for a safer play, it's the Bears. I think if you're looking for a higher ceiling, it's probably Tampa Bay. Packers are giving up the second lowest points per game to opposing defenses the last 4 weeks. Siobhan said, playing Baker over Stafford, thoughts? Yeah, I'm good with that. They're pretty much right next to each other in my rankings. B. Johnson said, DST, Pats, Miami, or Falcons. I'm going with the Falcons. Also, PPR pick 1, Igbuka, Pittman, or Franklin. I'm in the mud this week. I would go with Igbuka, Franklin over Pittman, though, for me. Yeah. Rico, Bucky, Harvey, or Chase Brown. Pick 3. Rico, Bucky, Harvey, or Chase Brown. Yeah, I'm definitely going Chase Brown. I'm definitely going Bucky, and it's between Harvey and Rico, and I would go with Harvey over Rico this week. McLaurin, Reed, or Harrison, half-point PPR. Yeah, I'm going with Terry McLaurin. Pick 2, Reed, Tyler Warren, Igbuka, or Aaron Jones. I feel like I got this question, or similar question to this before. Yeah, I would go with Igbuka, and I would go with Aaron Jones. Full PPR, 2 flex, DJ Moore, BTJ Slayton, or Kobe Parkinson. I would go with DJ Moore, and I would go with Kobe Parkinson. I'm getting out of here in like 5 minutes, so it looks like we're kind of getting to the end of questions here. So perfect. Cam said Park in bad weather or Gadsden, Loveland, and Waller. Need 3 wide receivers. Yeah, I'm going with Loveland over those guys at tight end. Need 3 wide receivers. Diggs, Boutte, Mitchell, Reed, Godwin, Slayton, Coker. Need 2 running backs. Javante, Brees. Yeah, I would go with Javante. I would go with Henderson. I would go with Javante, and I would go with Henderson, but I would consider Michael Carter over Henderson possibly. Now I do have it's tough. I want to drop Reese even farther in my rankings right now. Volume is not always everything. I do like Michael Carter this week. I keep moving him up higher and higher in my rankings the more I look at them. So I would say Michael Carter over Brees. I would say Javante and Henderson, though. And the pivot would be Carter over Henderson if you wanted to. Now, need 3 wide receivers, Diggs, Boutte, Mitchell, Reed, Godwin, Slayton, Coker. I would go with Godwin. I would go with Diggs, and I would go with A.D. Mitchell. Pick one if Rice is out. I would go with Michael Carter here. Stroud or Caleb? I'm going with Stroud. Yeah, I would go with Stroud even with the guys on waivers. Would you start Jaden Reed over either Tet, Zay, or Rice? I would not. I would not. Daysful, appreciate the super chat. $2 super said Stroud or Bo Nix this week. Lost Patty, need upside. I'm going with Bo Nix. Higher scoring game. I have Bo Nix at 10. I have Stroud at 12. Siobhan said, okay, about running backs, can you say why you would go Harvey over Rico? Yeah, Rico plays in a game against the Bucks where his style is a lot more up the middle. And so I worry a little bit that, this is the Bucks up the middle are pretty tough. That's where their defense is strong against the run. And I just think stylistically, I think it's a tough matchup for Rico. I know Harvey doesn't have the easiest matchup either against the Jaguars, but I do think it's higher scoring in that game. And Harvey is not splitting time really much at all, right? He's pretty much the lead dog there. Daysville said, "Thank you so much for all the defense rankings." Yeah, no problem at all. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. My defense rankings are up. I'll be back here on Sunday morning. Good luck with your matchups this week, and I will see you guys.